Hello, everybody. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and this is my colleague, Tracy Priest.
Hello, everybody.
And we're with The Road to Retail. On our podcast, Tracy and I hope to offer tips, insights, ideas, and examples for how small, emerging, and challenger CPG, consumer packaged goods, brands can build their business. Everything from determining if you're ready to grow, where to start, how to prove it online, how to go about securing distribution at a national retailer, driving your business with the end consumer, and how to go about finding an investor if that's important to you. The bottom line is, we would love to help you be successful by highlighting the many important factors that go into establishing and growing your brand.
Bruce and I have been working in CPG commercial operations for over 30 years, working on brands of all sizes. By commercial operations, we mean sales, marketing, trade marketing, new product development, broker and distributor management, new product development, brand M&A, and financing. As a part of our show, we bring our guests that are brand founders and leaders, agencies, Amazon specialists, sales agents, contract manufacturers, retailers, and investors to discuss their experiences and share their insights with the audience.
To keep up with the show, please subscribe to the Road to Retail podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leave us a review and consider sharing the show with a friend or colleague that may benefit from the content. You can also check out our website to learn more at www.road2retail.com and follow The Road to Retail on LinkedIn. We would love to have you along for the ride. Today's Road to Retail episode is powered by Market Performance Group, MPG, a leading omnichannel commerce agency delivering integrated commercial solutions that accelerate profitable growth. MPG's new growth initiative helps brands of any size win in every channel, whether launching DTC, scaling on Amazon, or entering brick and mortar. Its team, veterans from top retailers, CPGs, and digital platforms, connects brands with consumers across the full funnel, delivering right-size strategies, strategic go-to-market plans, advanced analytics, and deep retailer relationships for exceptional business results. Check them out at marketperformancegroup.com. Looking to scale or launch your supplement or skincare brand? Eagle Labs Incorporated, based in Florida, offers full-service NSF-certified contract manufacturing of capsules, tablets, powders, liquids, gummies, and lotions. All of their manufacturing takes place in the USA. From R&D and formulation to packaging and fulfillment, Eagle Labs provides scalable, high-quality production that meets FDA and NSF standards. To learn more, contact Michael Law, Chief Commercial Officer at Eagle Labs at michael.law@eaglelabsinc.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of The Road to Retail, where we look to help small, emerging, and challenger brands plot their growth. There he is, Tracy Priest. Tracy, how are you today?
Doing fantastic, Bruce. What a great day, and we've got a great episode. I'm very excited about who we have on the show today.
Well, you can't leave people hanging with a comment like that. Why don't you tell folks who's with us today, and let's get rolling.
Absolutely. So we have Mark Young, and Mark is the CEO at Jekyll Hyde Labs, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that. And Mark has also written a book called The 27 Unbreakable Laws, Build a $100 million brick and mortar CPG brand. So Mark, welcome to the show, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. I've been looking forward to being on with you guys. You guys do a great job.
Well, thank you very, very much. So let's jump in a little bit. Mark, tell us a little bit about you, your background, and how you got to be the CEO of Jekyll Hyde Labs, and also about maybe tell us a little bit about your book.
All right. Well, let's see where to start with. Okay. So Jekyll Hyde Labs is our ad agency. We've been around for 31 years, which is a long time for an ad agency, by the way.
Yeah.
And we specialize in challenger brand consumer packaged goods, the type of people who listen to this podcast. And we have launched well over 200 brands and thousands of SKUs. And it's kind of fun because I can go to like any Walgreens or CVS, and there's a product on every shelf and every row that we helped get there. So that's kind of fun, but it does drive my wife crazy because I walk around stores and straighten up shelves. So,
We do too. We do
yep.
too.
It's hard
Glad we're
not
not
to,
the only
isn't it?
one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard not to.
we are all guilty of going around the stores and straightening up the brands we've worked on, and occasionally, I mean, I've never done this, stealing the occasional facing, just occasionally.
Just double it
So
up there.
exactly. So Mark, tell us a little bit more specifically about the services Jekyll and Hyde Labs offers to brands.
So what we do here is we're a full service agency dealing with CPG, but we have two parts of the agency. So we have Michigan and Florida. In Michigan, we deal with all the brick and mortar business. So everybody that wants to be in Walmart and Walgreens and Target and all those stores, this is the side for that. And we use the media that drives retail. In Florida, which is the Rise agency, that's where the digital team is. And that's for the brands that are getting into Amazon and building their Shopify site and want to launch on the digital side. So we have both sides of the business, but I spend most of mine in that area of taking those digital Amazon brands into brick and mortar. Now, as far as what we do the creative, we do production, we do media buying, we have an extensive network of people to connect people with people like yourself and brokers and lawyers and all the experts that people need. We have all the other things people need. We have web design, we have package design. So pretty much anything a launching or emerging brand needs in the way of marketing or expertise, we can help them in. And our big thing is we're a big believer in the Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy book, Who Not How. Mm-hmm. And that is, it's impossible for a new entrepreneur to know how to do everything that this business has that it throws at you. But what's important to know is who the who's are that you need. And that's part of what we do is get people connected to the right who's. Get people with the right team around them. Because with the right team around you, you'll not only succeed, but you'll be safeguarded against the critical mistakes that we, and I'm sure both of you guys have seen brands make in their early years. And sometimes they make mistakes that they can't recover from. And when you have the right who's on the list, you can prevent a lot of those. Sometimes people like yourself and myself, sometimes one of the biggest values we bring to clients is the things we've already done and know that fail, that we can prevent them from doing.
Yeah, that's well put, Mark, because one of the bumper stickers here at Road to Retail is it's amazing how many people would rather fail for free than work with people who know what to do, depending upon what's needed at the time. Tracy?
Who not how.
Who not how. I like it. I wrote that down. That's great. Love that. So talk to us a little bit about the book that you just recently wrote, the 27 Unbreakable Laws, Build a $100 million brick and mortar CPG brand. Tell us the audience a little bit about the book and what inspired you to write the book.
All right. So the book is actually the 27 Unbreakable Rules.
Yep. Oh,
so
sorry.
We made the little correction. No problem. You can find it on Amazon. But we're going to have a free book offer at the end of this. So awesome. Here's what it is. I have conversations with new entrepreneurs and CPG brands every day of my life. And just like yourself, oftentimes we have the same conversations over and over. Mm-hmm. So my team, we went out and we said, let's find a book that we can use. Let's see if anyone's written a book that just lays everything out for people so they know the steps. Well, guys, as you know, nobody wrote the book. We couldn't find it. So I finally said, okay, I'm going to write the book. And where it started, we have a podcast that you guys know of, CPG Insiders, and it started where we started just covering the rules of things people need to do. And the podcast kind of said, okay, we need to turn this into a book and just make it a manual. So what it really is a manual to start people off from you're a visionary, you have an idea, here's your product, all the way through being on the shelf and being successful. What are all the steps it takes to get there? And here's the thing I will tell people. If people get this and they follow all 27 rules, they will have a successful CPG brand. And folks, the deck's a little stacked, and I'll tell you why I can make that guarantee. Because the first 5 questions will get you to stop being in business if you can't clear them. Because if you don't have a product that has broad appeal, that has unique, that has a point of difference, that has margin, if you don't reach those goals, no, you're not going to be successful. And the book will tell you to stop where you are until you can solve those problems.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people just keep charging through all the flashing red lights. Sometimes it works out, but more times you end up embedded in a stone wall, wishing maybe you had paid attention. So, Mark, you touched on this a bit, and we're going to touch on a bunch of the things you just rattled off there because they're all critical. But why do you feel it's important for brand founders to create brands that they truly believe in?
So that's actually one of the rules in the book. And it is simply this. There's a couple of reasons. One reason is it is not if things will get tough. It is when will things get tough?
Mm-hmm.
You will face those dark nights of the soul. You will have those moments when you will be questioning your sanity or questioning your life choices.
Yeah.
And if you're not 100% in on your business and 100% in that you believe in this brand, you're going to bail out. The second reason is in social media and in the world today where things are so connected, people can sniff out a phony.
Yes.
And if you're not real, if you're just here because I got this idea and I think I can squeeze some money out of the marketplace, and you're not really behind that product, the marketplace will find you out. The third reason is you're going to have to sit across from a buyer at Walmart or Walgreens or Target, and you're going to need to convince them that your product belongs on the shelf. If you don't believe that, why would they believe that?
So true. So true. Yeah, absolutely. So in the book, you also talk about creating a brand that meets a need or solves a problem. And I think this is also in the top 5, first 5 questions. So talk to our audience a little bit about why that is so important of solving a problem or meeting a need in the marketplace.
Just like you guys, I have companies bring or visionaries to bring items to me, and I've invented this new product. Sometimes we look at those products and we say, okay, they invented a product because they know how, not because it solves a need. Mm-hmm. You just had a piece of technology, so you created something, and yes, you did create something and it works, but does anybody want it? And if we want to be in mass retail, it needs to be something that the masses want to buy, not a few people. The second thing we see in this area is people will bring a product to us, and it solves a problem, and it solves a problem for them.
Yeah.
And that's great. You solved the problem for yourself. You solved the pet peeve that you have, but the majority of the world does not have that pet peeve and are not interested in buying it. And another thing we see, and I'll kick this back to you guys, how often do you see people come to you and they don't have a business, they have an item? Mm-hmm. And you have an item that would fit within a family of products or fit within another business, but it's not a business on its own. There's not enough margin, not enough volume, not enough demand. It's just an item. It's not a business model. But the big thing is people don't buy products. People buy outcomes.
Mm.
So if you're in the business of making a product, it needs to solve a human problem. So what do we do in advertising? What we do in advertising is simply this. We use communication and media to help consumers overcome their own biases and to educate them on a pathway to a better future. That's why we buy products. So how does your product create a better future for the consumer that's going to buy it? That means it needs to solve a problem. And people say, well, not everything solves a problem. Yes, everything does solve a problem. A bottle of wine solves a problem. A bottle of wine is a great gift if you're going to a dinner party. A bottle of wine might be a great way to relax after dinner. It does solve an item. Bob Evans mashed potatoes, a client of ours. How does mashed potatoes solve a problem? They absolutely solve a problem. They give a busy homeowner or busy homemaker a quality side dish to put with their dinner in 5 minutes or less. So it's not just mashed potatoes. It's a solution to a quick meal with a quality product.
Well, it's interesting when you talk about you have an item and not a business. Tracy and I run into these small brands, and kind of one of the things we'll ease into is this a business or a hobby?
Right.
Either they have horrible unit level economics, or the problem they're solving is just so small. It's just not viable to try to make a living at it. So Mark, you touched on this, and Tracy and I speak about this with all the guests and when we offer counsel directly ourselves. Product differentiation is so important in today's marketplace. We were just at a couple of meetings where the retailers were just going on and on about differentiation and innovation and driving category performance versus your brand performance. Can you please share with the audience some of the brands you've worked with that you felt were truly different? And if you can, give a few examples of why you thought they were different, or why consumers voted with their wallet that they were different.
We have so many brands. I just took some quick notes. Like one of our brands is a brand called Recticare. Recticare is the #2 product in hemorrhoid pain. Now, not exactly an exciting category, but it solves a problem. But what made it different? Because Recticare was the first brand that came to market when topical lidocaine was made legal by the FDA. So all of a sudden, boom, we're the only brand out that actually takes the pain away. That's what made them different. Bob Evans, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, side dishes. So what's unique about them is they make homemade food that is high quality with good ingredients, that is affordable, that anybody can take home and cook in 3 to 5 minutes. WaxRx. WaxRx is a client. We literally grew them from, we named it, packaged it, designed it. We did everything on it. And WaxRx was interesting because it's a $40 kit for cleaning out earwax. Here's what people didn't understand. When we first went to retail, we launched a direct to consumer because the buyers at retail said, no one's going to pay $40 for an earwax kit because the next product in the category is $8.99. They said the gap was too big. But this is what we had to educate them. We had to educate the buyer that we're not competing with DeBrock's eardrops. We're competing with a trip to the doctor's office because it's the same kit your doctor has. So we had to get them to understand, no, we're not competing with $8.99. We're competing with a half day off work to go visit a doctor. Now, what happened? #1 earwax cleaning system in the country. Boost Oxygen. What is Boost? Canned oxygen. I mean, there's literally a joke piece in Spaceballs where they open up a can of Perrier air, because people like, you're selling air in a can. No, we're not selling air in a can. We're selling a solution for people who have activities at high altitudes. And the bigger problem is we're solving problems for people who have forms of oxygen shortage, and they need something portable. People that have mild COPD, people who have mild breathing problems, where they can reach in their purse and take a couple of shots of oxygen and they feel better. Be Cozy, another client we have on air right now that is just killing it. They make a $50 travel pillow in a category that's $12. And they're now the #1 selling travel pillow in America, which proves my point. People don't buy the lowest price. People buy the highest value. So people are willing to pay $50 for a travel pillow when they can buy them in the airport all day long for $12. Why? Because it's different. It's nothing like the other ones. I can go on and on. I mean, I don't know how far you want to go with that, but I can keep going brand after brand.
It's interesting, Mark, because what you said is, one of the old adages, we've all sat in plenty of buyers meetings where no matter what you're selling, Rolls Royces or Pez dispensers, certain people just want to beat you down to the lowest possible price that before you say no. But price is what you pay and value is what you get. So if you're willing to pay $50 for that travel pillow, if it's more comfortable, it lasts longer, it gets through security. I mean, there's a whole number of little attributes that lead to a product with a superior benefit and therefore can carry the superior price point.
And let me add something that's a common thread in our products. Almost all clients here are a premium product, and they tend to be either the highest price in their category or toward the top of the price. And folks, I'm going to tell you, if your goal is somebody makes a 6-ounce product that sells for $10 and you're going to make a 10-ounce product that sells for $9, you're not getting into retail because you just cost the retailer money. Now, all of a sudden, I used to get 10, now I get 9, and I used to sell 4 a year, but now I'm only going to sell 3 a year. Why would I bring you in?
Yep.
If I'm the buyer, here's what I want. If I'm the buyer, I want a product that's going to be a category expander. Category expander means you just invented fabric softener to go with detergent. So now the customer walks out with 2 bottles of something instead of 1. Or you're going to expand the demographic. An example would be you just came up with a new energy drink for 55 plus. So now all of a sudden, you're going to bring an older demographic to the energy category, the energy shelf that normally doesn't shop there. The third and most practical way to get on shelf is be the premium product. Because if I can go to the buyer and say, your average product in this category is $10, but I'm a $15 product and I have a unique point of difference and I have a marketing campaign that is going to drive people into your store. So now, Miss Walmart buyer, your $10 customers are going to trade up. We're a trade up brand. And that's the entryway. Don't go into this saying we're going to be the low price. And there's one other advantage to being the trade up. You have more money to market. You can now afford to spend on advertising. And guys, you probably know this. When we look at most categories in CPG, there's a 10x difference between the lowest price in the category and the highest price. So if we go look at hairspray, there's $2 hairspray and there's $20 hairspray on the same shelf. But the difference in the 10x, the difference in being the 10x from a cost standpoint, the average product that is 10 times more than the bottom only costs 4 times more to make, which means the margin is significantly greater, not just for the retailer, but for the manufacturer who now has the money to market.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And one of the things, Mark, I wanted to highlight too, that you talked about the buyer, and trading up. We hear all the time from buyers, we care more about our category than we do about your brand.
Because no retailer out there needs you.
Yeah.
Understand there's 148,000 SKUs in a Walmart supercenter. And Walmart can live just fine without any one of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, based on all your brand experience, you've got a tremendous amount. Give us the top two or three things when a brand is just starting out that they just have to get right to be successful. And then on the flip side, talk about maybe some of the top two or three mistakes you see brands consider, make on an ongoing basis.
The things I think they need to get done, they need to get right from the beginning is obviously you need a product with a point of difference. You need something unique. You need IP. You need some intellectual property. Hopefully, you've got some intellectual property that you can protect. You need a team around you. You need the best who's around you. You need a brand position. You need to know what that brand stands for. You need to have profitable pricing. So you need to have your manufacturing in order, and you need to have a landed cost on that product that is going to give you at least a 5-to-1 margin, prefer to get up to 7 or 8-to-1, but a minimum of a 5-to-1 margin if you're going to survive in retail. You need to have a marketing campaign. You need to have an advertising model. And now, what are the mistakes people make? Well, the big one is if I can only get on the shelf at fill in the blank, we'll say Walmart. If I can only get on the shelf, I've got it made. No, getting on the shelf is the beginning of the process. You got on the shelf. Now, how are you going to get it off of the shelf? Understand that as much traffic as Walmart has, your product is not going to survive because you put it on the shelf next to the other 148,000 SKUs. No one is walking through Walmart and reading all those labels. People buy products they recognize. That is how our brain works. We go to the planogram, we sit at that plan, we're within 4 to 5 feet. Our eyes are going to scan it, and we're going to look at what we recognize. And now we're going to make a decision between not the 60 different items there. We're going to make a choice between the 3 or 4 that I recognize. And which one triggers the most emotion in my head? Which is the one that makes me think, yes, this is the one for me?
Well, Mark, you touched on another thing Tracy and I talk about, and when we interviewed we interviewed a bunch of buyers at some of the biggest retailers in the country, and they said the same thing. They've had brands like High Five in the conference room that they've been taken into distribution, and they said, no, 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 no. The work starts now. So Tracy likes to say getting on the shelf is great, but turning and moving off the shelf, because you're going to get off the shelf one of two ways. You're going to
Yes, you
create
are.
demand, or they're going to remove you. And then you will be introduced to the trail of tears of markdowns and returns. So Mark, you mentioned something really interesting. So we'd spend a lot of time talking to the audience about how critical it is to get pricing correct right from the start. And a second ago, you referenced your mantra of having a 5-to-1 ratio or better. Can you take a few minutes and speak in kind of Forrest Gump English what you mean by that?
Well, sure. Sometimes brands call us up and we'll say, okay, what's your retail? Well, our retail's $10. What does it cost you to make the product? Well, it costs us $6. So we have a 40% margin. No, you don't. You have a 40% markup. Let's go with a $10 item. Let's go with a $10 item that you're going to sell at Target. If that item sells for $10, Target's going to want somewhere between 36 and 47 points. So let's just go with the top. It's a $10 item. Target's going to take 47 points. Let's call it $5. So now we have $5 left. Okay. Now, do we have a broker? A broker's going to get 5%. Okay. Let's take that off. Now, what are we going to spend on shopper marketing, on in-store marketing? Because the retailer is going to want us to spend money in their ecosystem. That can go anywhere from another, I usually peg that anywhere between 3 and 10%. I don't know where you guys are at, but that's usually where we peg it at. Okay. Now I'm going to have some back charges. I might have some return charges. I might have cross-docking charges, damaged goods charges. I have to account for that. Now, how new is my brand? If I have a mature brand, I'm going to spend 15% on marketing. If I have a brand new brand that nobody knows, I'm going to spend between 15 and 30% on marketing. So all of a sudden, 50, 5 to 10, another 3, now another 15 to 30, and all of a sudden you're underwater. Yep. So when we look at 5 to 1, and I cover all this math in the book, that $10 item needs to have a $2 cost, because after all the discounts and all the profits and everybody that's included, that product's going to net you probably $3.65. So, and $2 is your cost of product. So you're trying to run your company on $1.50.
Yeah.
And if
folks,
you don't
this
have
is
those
another
margins,
sorry, Mark. So, folks, this is another reason Tracy and I speak to, and a lot of the guests on have also spoken to, the importance that you at least consider starting online. Because if you've made some pricing errors, the only one who really feels it is you. And you can make some adjustments. But once you start going out to brick and mortar retailers or even some third-party websites to carry your product, boy, changing your price gets tough, because they don't view it as their problem that you made an error.
And the beauty of starting off digitally, guys, is not only can you learn things there, but you can go for a higher price and offer discounts.
Yes.
So let's say that product cost you $2. You put it on Amazon for 10. You're not seeing the movement you want to have. It's okay. You can do a 20% off sale and start to move some volume, but it's easier to discount than it is to try to increase later. Much easier to discount now than to try to move the number up. You go into a Walmart and you tell them that you're a $5 wholesale, and you get home and find out I really needed to be a $6.50 wholesale. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Good luck with telling Walmart, sorry, I made a mistake. I need another $1. I'm going to charge you another $1.50.
It's not going to happen.
Nope. It absolutely is
you
not.
You might recover a piece of that a year from now.
Right. Exactly. So talk to us a little bit about how a brand should think about expansion. Is that more SKUs, more retailers, maybe, form expansion? So talk to us a little bit about how a brand should think about that.
So we see brands, and you guys have too, we see the brands make mistakes like this. The first thing we always tell people is, what's your hero and who do you want to be a hero to? Mm-hmm. So there's a hero product. It's the product that even if you have 10 SKUs, you have one item that's probably doing 80% of your volume. Pareto's law. What's the hero item? Who are you going to be a hero to? Meaning, who's the consumer that you're going to be a hero to? And I want to throw this in there. How can you be a hero to the buyer? So this is our point of, you don't go into the buyer and ask the buyer for what you want. You go in to see the buyer to ask how you can be a hero to the buyer. How can you help this buyer solve a problem in her planogram? What is the problem you solve for Walmart? Not just for the consumer. What's the product you solve for them? So that's the first thing I would do with that, Tracy. Now, where are we going from that? What was the next thing you wanted to know?
Just about expansion, like SKU expansion. Is it SKU expansion, retailer expansion?
Yep.
I just got into HEB. I'm excited, but okay, now what?
So a lot of times we see companies and they'll start going out to retail and they have 5 SKUs. And they show all 5 SKUs to every retailer. And retailer A takes SKU 1 and 2, and retailer B takes SKU 3, and retailer 4 and 5 take number 4 and 5. Now, all of a sudden, I don't have a uniform footprint across the country, and I can't launch a national ad campaign.
Yep.
because these retailers have all these different products. So you need to go in with the hero. Now, maybe the hero has a couple of sub-heroes. That's okay, but there's a hero product. And this is the one that everybody gets when you go into retail because now you can market it. Now, what's the second mistake people make? We got one hero in and we have one SKU and it's above Mendoza line, meaning it's above the line that the retailer wants. We're in, we're safe. And now what do? Let's go make more SKUs. Well, what happens? People make SKUs that cannibalize the one they have. So all of a sudden I have this $15 SKU in there. It's doing well. And what do? I come up with the same thing in cinnamon flavor.
I was just thinking that. Cheer. I My number one flavor is orange. Great. Now I'm going to create cherry, lime, and grape.
So now all of a sudden I have one SKU in spearmint that is making money, and I come up with wintergreen and cinnamon, and now I have 3 SKUs that none of them are reaching minimum numbers because all I did was give my current customer base 3 choices to split their business between. So first off, if you're going to add a flavor, a size, a version, you better be significantly above the minimum turn rate to be able to absorb that. The more logical thing is, how can you expand the category? So as an example, we had a topical arthritis pain product. The client wanted to expand. Okay, so what did we do? We said, let's make a back pain formula. Because now we can halo off the brand, but people with joint pain are not the same people as people with back pain. So now we can talk to a new piece of audience who we've already spent millions on telling them our brand name. Now when they come to the shelf, oh, they make something for back pain. I have back pain. Let me expand on this if I can. Guys, stop me whenever you want me to. The majority of consumers shop by indication. And if you don't believe me, go look at the Robitussin category. So Robitussin, when you go to ChatGPT and you ask ChatGPT how many different SKUs are there in Robitussin, ChatGPT says it's not knowable to actually tie that number down. And here's the reason, because you have Robitussin DF, Robitussin CF, Robitussin EF, Robitussin WTF. Robitussin understands that you're going to have a cold and you're going to stand in front of the shelf and you're going to say, I've got the scratchy throat, watery eyes, cough. And this one over here is plugged sinuses, cough, and hemorrhoids, whatever the case is. And you're going to go through there and you're going to pull the one out that's just for you. How does your product, not all products fit indications, but if it does, how does your product address an indication? Focus on the indication. Don't worry about all the other indications. Focus on your indication. Now, here's the intersection. The intersection is, how specific can I make my indication? Because the more I think you're just for me, the more I will desire you. But the intersection on that XY graph is the intersection of specificity to the indication and the quantity or volume of people who have that need. I need to have enough people who have this problem and be specific enough that people are passionate about me because I solve this problem.
Right.
So one thing to build off of what Mark's saying, folks, is not only if you have too many SKUs, you run the risk of retailers picking and choosing instead of focusing on your hero SKUs and the ones that move the volume. You're also really increasing your operational complexity back at wherever you're supplying product from, a contract manufacturer, your own facility. And I can promise you, your ops people will get out their voodoo doll and be sticking you in the back because you're making their life tough. And then the other thing is the more SKUs, the more inventory, the more cash that's tied up sitting idle instead of helping drive your business. All right, Mark, here's one
One
for you.
successful SKU is worth 10 bad sellers at
Yes.
retail.
That is true. So all the young brand managers out there, you don't need a billboard of 8 SKUs. You need the 3 that you sell the hell out of and have deeper inventory so you're not out of stock. So, Mark, you're at a conference, probably a book signing, signing your book to people. Guy comes up to you and says, Mark, I am going to start a CPG brand. What's the first counsel you give this person?
Well, my first one probably would be to tell him that, find out if he has a good therapist, to
Ab-
find out if he is psychologically balanced enough to be able to make that decision. But what's the first thing I tell somebody if they want to have a CPG brand? My first question is, do you have experience in the CPG industry? That's my first question. And
Yep.
if it is yes, okay, let's have a conversation. If it's not, who's going to be your guide? Because you need a CPG Sherpa that's going to save you from all of the stupid things you're going to think are a good idea.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's so true. Like Bruce said, people try and go it alone, or they try and fail for free, and it usually doesn't end up very well for them as well. So that is great advice.
And
So
by the way,
Marcus,
my next question, guys, is do you have the money to do this?
yeah, I was just going to say that's the next, yeah, because it's not a cheap endeavor, not a cheap endeavor at all. So as we're rounding third a little bit and heading towards home, Mark, talk to us about who's had the greatest influence in your career and why.
It's interesting, guys, because I've been around for a long time. And I'm a big believer in when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear.
Hmm.
And at different decades of my life, the right teachers have appeared. So it's interesting. I can go all the way back into my teens and early 20s, and I know who the person is who really came along and impacted. I would say, as far as who's impacting thinking today, probably Dan Sullivan,
Hmm.
Dr. Ben Hardy, Joe Polish, Gino Wickman. Um, these are all tremendous, great thinkers, and all of them are published authors. All of them have best-selling books that everyone can go out and get. I'm fortunate enough that these people are all close friends, and I like to think that I bring something to the table. One of the ways that, if you were here in my office, we have a set of company principles that are on the walls. And one of those principles is that we work from the premise of we have to bring value to every person we meet. And that's whether it's a client or a vendor or a buyer or a subcontractor. We want everyone who meets us to believe they are better off for that meeting. And we try to teach everybody to go into these meetings not with a handout and not with a closed fist, but to go into meetings and ask people the genuine question of how can I be of service? How do I contribute something to you? And do it without the expectation of getting something back.
Yeah.
I
Critical.
can't tell you, yeah, I can't tell you how many people I've met and I gave advice to. And I'm sure you guys have done this. I've got people I gave them advice 20 years ago that I don't even remember. Met them at a conference, whatever the case was, and they show back up in my life. You were the person who helped me do this thing and you gave me the best advice. And now I'm in a position that I want to come back and do business with you. It will come back to you. Or as my friend Joe Polish says, life gives to the givers and takes from the takers.
That is very true. All right, Mark, vital question coming up. Who is your favorite band, sports team, or brand? You probably can't name brands because you work on a ton, and that's picking your favorite kid. So if you want to go there, if you want to live dangerously and touch the third rail, have at it. Otherwise, we'll settle for your musical preference and what sports team you support and why.
So I can actually give you brand and sport at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm an auto racer. I actually race cars. I'm a professional race car driver when I'm not out selling stuff. Um, so my favorite race or my favorite sport is racing. My favorite brand is McLaren, which is also my favorite team is McLaren.
Oh,
So that one's kind of easy.
that's amazing. So Bruce is an F1 guy. So Bruce, you better
So,
chime in
Mark,
here.
this will air after, but this weekend, my wife and I and a couple others are going to the Miami race. And
Hmm.
I just like the race. I hadn't really picked, and everyone's like, you got to pick a car. Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, geez. I kind of like Lando and Oscar, the McLaren drivers, seem like good guys. But the real reason I like McLaren is Zach Brown because he's just such an arrogant pain in the ass. I love that guy. I love that
Now,
guy.
you guys get a kick out of this. So I get accused of people walk up to me and think I'm Zach Brown when I have a McLaren jacket on.
Yeah, but you're a lot more polite. So okay, I gotta push you on. I gotta push you on the band. Okay, what music do you like?
So I am a former musician from a past life, and I was a heavy metal musician, singer and guitar player. My all-time favorite is probably Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath,
Oh, wow.
which by the way, you will find is very common in the entrepreneurial world. Tony Robbins is a big heavy metal fan. Most of Joe Polish is a heavy metal fan. I mean, it's surprising how much of us are in that genre of music.
Well, all entrepreneurs have to sort of deal with Enter Sandman at some time in their journey, and you have to confront it. So, well, that was great, Mark, and McLaren. I like that. All right, Tracy, we want to help Mark with his book, and then you got to go into the big finish. How can people
Yes.
reach him?
Yeah. So Mark, tell us how people can get a hold of you and also how they can get the book.
Okay, so it's easy to find us on web. That is jekyllhydelabs.com. JekyllHyde labs, LABS. And the reason we're called Jekyll Hyde Labs is because we are literally a laboratory for CPG brands. So what we mean by that is when you go to an agency that doesn't specialize in CPG, they might have to do a lot of experimenting on you to get it right. Because we have so many CPG brands, we don't have to do all the experiments on one client. So we'll try this technique with this client, and then if it works, we can give it to all the clients. And we'll try this technique with this client. If it works, we can give it to all the clients. So we can move it around. We're going to offer people a free copy of the book for anyone, and this is not free to anybody. It's only free to people that are listening to your podcast. Go to info@jekyllhydelabs.com, fill out the form, and in the little notes, put Road to Retail free book, and tell us if you want a paperback, if you want the audio book, or if you want the digital version. And our office will send you the one you want, absolutely free.
We love that. And we'll put that offer in the show notes, audience as well. That's very generous of you, Mark. And I know that our audience will love that. I've read the book and it's awesome. And I highly recommend it to anybody just starting out and trying to build a brand, or even if you're on the journey.
That
So,
means a lot coming from you, Trace, because you guys know
So,
what you're
Mark,
doing.
so Mark, how can people get a hold of you to learn about you or your firm? You've been very generous with the book offer. What about people that might need the services of your firm or your counsel?
So you can go to jekyllhydelabs.com, contact us there. We also have, if you want to just learn more about me, we have a website that just covers what I do, which is meetmarkyoung.com. And you can go there. And if you go to Meet Mark Young or Jekyll Hyde Labs, not only can you email and get an appointment to talk to us, we also have AI Mark there. So if you click AI Mark, there's actually a virtual version of me that you can ask questions to 24 hours a day. And it has all my books, all my podcasts, all my white papers programmed into it. And actually does a pretty good job of answering marketing questions, believe it or not. The voice isn't quite right, but it's not bad. I will also tell people, I don't know if I told you guys, we also own the company PharmaVision. And PharmaVision is our company. We control and operate all the television sets in all the Kroger pharmacies across America.
Nice.
So we're also the in-store advertising at Kroger and kind of the pathway for new and emerging products into the pharmacy there also.
That is awesome. I love it. Lots of good context. Again, audience, that will be all of that information that Mark just talked about will be also in our show notes. So make sure that you check that out.
All right, Tracy, bring it home with the big finish.
Absolutely, Mark. This has been awesome. Great insight. Excited about the book. And thank you so much for joining us today. And audience, thank you for joining us. Continue to follow us on our Apple Podcast, Spotify, our YouTube channel. We post every Tuesday on LinkedIn, as well as check out our website that has all of our episodes, and that is www.road2retail.com. And again, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. You were awesome. We learned, I know our audience learned a lot.
Excellent
Absolute
show.
Pleasure, guys. It's so good to be on with you. Thank you so much.
Good luck out there, folks.